Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode here of Talk Tottenham. Here with your host Tom. Guys, it's this one. It's felt forever, to be honest, with this international break. I can't believe it. It still feels such a long time ago since I did that Fulham video. That really bad defeat last time out, 3-0 at Craven Cottage. But guys, we do return to Premier League action tomorrow, in the 3 o'clock game against Luton at home. So yeah, just 10 more games left, guys, of the season. And the question is really, can Spurs finish the season with a flourish, and can we basically get in the top four? Because that's basically all we've got to play for. Um, it's still unclear whether or not fourth and fifth will be enough to get Champions League. I mean, all the things I've heard is that fifth could be enough, and we've got a good chance of it. But I'd like to see us, really push on now and really try and wrap up that fourth place. At the moment, it's between us, Villa. You probably right now you've got to say United are still in it. They're only 6 points behind, but I think their form has been so up and down this season. I do think it's going to be between us and Aston Villa for fourth and fifth. And guys, tomorrow's game. I know. You look at the fixture list, and you see Luton at home, and you think that's going to be an easy 3 points. I still think we're going to have to be very professional in this game, guys. It's not going to be easy. There's no game in the Premier League is easy. Luton will come. They're scrap. They've actually really impressed me this season, Luton. That despite the fact that you basically be only able to tell me one player in their lineup that you recognise pretty much, and that's Ross Barkley. Obviously, they've got Andros Townsend now, but the rest of them are pretty much made up of players that are not household names, but have really come together this season and shown a lot of heart, I think, Luton. And they've lost a lot of games where they were always in those games. They've given a lot of the top teams a run for their money. So I think, we need to see a reaction, though, don't we, guys? We need to see a reaction from the Fulham game. And I want us to be really going out in this one and pressing from the first minute, high energy. It's really, really important that the fans create that little bit more of an atmosphere in the stadium tomorrow, because quite honestly, sometimes at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, the atmosphere can feel a bit flat. It's certainly not that raucous atmosphere that we heard at the start of the season, where it was the nightclub. It's difficult to. I know that the team haven't been performing at those same heights, but I think the issue with a lot of match day attendances now and atmospheres is difficult, and we're starting to see atmospheres maybe not quite as good as what they were previously when you had those old style stadiums. I mean, White Hart Lane was always a cracking atmosphere. It was always a cracking atmosphere. I remember, especially at those 3 o'clock Saturday games, there was a real air of intrigue about those games, which I feel is slightly lost now, which is a shame. Especially with the television broadcasters. The fact that you've got fans from all over the world now that go to the games, and it's very expensive to go to these matches now. And it might be a little bit controversial to say, but you don't get that same level of fanatical supporter, that you might have done in the past, which perhaps might also contribute to the lack of the atmosphere. So the point is, guys, is I really want to see the fans getting behind the team, and I want to see the team trying to sort of spur on the fans, and I think we can do that by pressing and attacking and keeping the ball moving. And I think Ange has got a lot of players back now from injury. Long-term injuries still, Ryan Sessegnon, Manor Solomon. I don't think Richarlison's fit for tomorrow. Obviously, Fraser Forster. Um, other than that, though, I don't think there's anyone else. Let me know, guys, if I've missed anyone else in the comments. But I think other than that, we're pretty okay. So even Lo Celso's back as well, which is good. So when we look at the lineup, guys, for tomorrow's match, I think obviously if Vicario starts in goal, I don't see Ange changing or tinkering with the formation at all. So, I'd expect to see Pedro Porro and Destiny Udogie as fullbacks. Christian Romero will keep his place, and then of course, I think Ange has said that Mickey van der Ven is back. He is back, which is fantastic because we missed him heavily in that Fulham game. However, Ange does have a decision to make there because obviously we've got West Ham away on Tuesday night as well in the evening kickoff. Does he bring Mickey back in for the Luton game, or does he rest him up? And we're going to need him a lot in that West Ham game. I've just got a feeling Ange is going to play him in the Luton game as well. I think he's going to try and play him in both. Haven't really seen Ange. Yeah, Ange has tended to rotate the team, but what I like about Ange, and perhaps we haven't. I know we didn't see this in the Carabao Cup game earlier on in the season, but he does try and play his first team and his full strength lineup whenever he can, and we haven't always seen that. But we've seen it for most of the season. If Ange has got the opportunity to field his best team, he will. So I expect to see Mickey van der Ven and Christian Romero at the back. And look, if things are going great guns and we're 3-0 up with half an hour to go, by all means bring Mickey off then and give Dragusin some game time. But for me, we can't. Tomorrow is a must-win game. It's an absolute must-win, and United have got a tricky match at Brentford in the evening, I think. So, we could pull away. We could pull away from them as well, but taking points away from them. Midfield. This is an interesting one, guys, because I was really, really down in that last video, wasn't I? In the Fulham game, I was very critical of the team, and I thought about it after, and I thought, maybe I went over the top a little bit. I think it was I did that video 10 or 20 minutes after the full-time whistle, which is maybe never the best time to do a video. I was feeling very raw with the emotion. Obviously, I think all Tottenham fans have been really gutted and disappointed with that last performance, particularly because of how well we did at Villa the week before. I think that for me really was the shattering blow. I did go in hard on Basuma in that video. And Ange really, he does have a decision to make in terms of would he potentially want to bring in someone like Højbjerg or Skip and just bring Basuma out the firing line, or would he persist with him? Personally, I can just still see him persisting actually with Basuma in this game and trying to play him into form. I'm definitely personally, I'm not against the idea of a Højbjerg coming in. I mean, unfortunately, Oliver Skip seems like he's way down the pecking order these days. Otherwise, I would personally feel quite comfortable with Skip. And I know Skip is someone who divides a lot of opinions, but personally, I know he's not the answer either. Neither's Højbjerg, but I think they're good squad players to have. And when your players are out of form, isn't that what a squad's all about? But the way I see Ange doing it is, I think he, as I say, really tries to keep his tried and tested team whenever he can. So I expect to see a Basuma and Sarr partnership in the middle. But as I say, I wouldn't be against seeing a Højbjerg from the start. Although the argument always with Højbjerg this season is his best performances are always when he comes off the bench. And I think he actually plays that role really well coming off the bench for the last 20 minutes. But let's, for argument's sake, guys, say let's say we go with Basuma and Sarr. Madders will obviously operate in that playmaker role just ahead of them. And then either side of Maddison, you know, he could go with a Lo Celso, he could go with obviously a Timo Werner, Brennan Johnson, Kulusevski. So he's definitely, he's got options. He has got options. Personally, I think he's still going to play Brennan Johnson on the left. I know Johnson didn't play well in the Fulham game, but he has been playing pretty well of late. So for me, Johnson, and a lot of people say they prefer him out on the right. I actually personally prefer him on the left. Bit controversial there, but I like him on the left. On the right, I mean, personally, I think he's probably going to go with Kulusevski, but I would maybe throw a Lo Celso into the mix if it was me, and just try and add a little bit more creativity to the game. But I can't see Ange doing that. I think he is probably going to go with Kulusevski on the right. So that would be a Johnson, Maddison, Kulusevski, obviously in behind Heung-min Son. Because, as I said, I'm not sure. I'm not sure if Richarlison's fit. I'm not sure. I could be wrong there, guys. I thought Richie hadn't quite made it, but to be honest with you, even if Richie is fit, I don't know. I'd probably still go with Son and keep Richie on the bench anyway. So let's just go through that lineup again one more time, guys. That would be Vicario and goal with a back four of Pedro Porro, Christian Romero, Mickey van der Ven and Destiny Udogie. Pat Matasar will partner up with Yves Bissouma in the midfield. James Maddison just in front of them with Brennan Johnson, Dejan Kulusevski in behind Heung-min Son. The bench these days, guys, is looking pretty strong. You've got the likes of Ben Davis there. Højbjerg, Skip. Probably Richie probably will make the bench. But we didn't mention Bentancur and Lo Celso. I mean, Bentancur, interestingly, came out and said that he's been playing with a broken toe for the last few weeks, ever since the Palace game. That might go some way to explaining why we haven't quite seen the same player. I would also feel quite comfortable with Bentancur coming into the lineup as well. If we didn't see a Basuma, I'd expect to probably see Rodrigo Bentancur. But Ange, whenever he can, he seems to quite like playing the Basuma and Sarr partnership. And maybe, guys, maybe this is the game to start seeing a little bit more from them. Because they played really, really well at Villa Park, Basuma and Sarr. And then they had a stinker in the last one. But I've always said, I mean, yeah, it feels ages and ages ago, doesn't it now, since the early 10 games of the season. But I thought Basuma and Sarr were brilliant in those first 10 games. And were one of the reasons why we were doing so well. And for whatever reason, I don't know why it hasn't. We've never seemed to get back to those heights. But maybe, no disrespect to Luton, but maybe a game like tomorrow might be the time to actually see them come back into some form. Guys, I'll leave it there. I do think tomorrow's game is massive. Villa play Wolves after us. Man United are at Brentford in the evening. We can't slip up in this one. We really can't. It's got to be 3 points, because Tuesday night at West Ham, you know what that game's going to be like. It's going to be blood and thunder. They're going to want to kill our top four chances, and West Ham have had a pretty good season, to be honest, and they're probably still playing for probably Europa League, I would say, at this time. Where are they? They're 6th or 7th in the league, so they've done pretty well themselves. But, win tomorrow, and then I think, hopefully Mickey will also be okay for the West Ham game. I mean, I will caveat what I've said by if Mickey isn't 100% fit for tomorrow's game, I wouldn't play him. I would rest him for the West Ham game, but I'm going on the basis. I'm sure that Ange just said that he's fine, he's fit, he's ready. You know, how many days rest that we'd still have the Saturday and the Sunday to recover. Sorry, the Sunday and the Monday to recover, and the Tuesday. I mean, it's not long. It isn't long, really, to be honest, for a London derby, 2 London derbies. But yeah, I mean, as I said in the last game, guys, he is so pivotal now to the way that we play Mickey van der Ven that you'd almost go as far to say that you probably you wouldn't risk him, to be honest, for tomorrow's game. If there was a doubt for the West Ham game, which is going to be massive, you wouldn't rest him, such as his importance to the team now, which is, he's just turned into such a monster of a player, and he's just so impressive. He is so impressive. It's incredible, just his pace and his intelligence, his ability. For me, if I was, I'll do my awards at the end of the season on the channel, guys. But for me, Mickey van der Ven he's been Tottenham's best player this season. And he hasn't even played in all the games, especially we missed him for 3 months, didn't we, with that hamstring injury? But he's been awesome. He has been brilliant, and he's such a joy to watch playing. He really is. He's like Vertonghen, but just younger and more mobile and a lot more pace. Guys, I'll sign off there. But thanks ever so much for the support for the channel. If you do like the video and you haven't subscribed already, do hit the subscribe button. Give the video a thumbs up. It means a massive amount to me, guys. It really does. And obviously, I'll be putting out my post-match reaction for the Luton game tomorrow. 3 points, guys, incidentally. Tomorrow takes us into the top 4. Takes us into the Champions League places before Villa's game. I think they're on at 5:30 against Wolves. But yeah, that won't be an easy game for Villa. It's obviously a Midlands derby. Chance for them to drop points. We know how good Wolves are. So I think tomorrow could be a really good day for us. But it's probably the famous last words now. I've probably gone and jinxed it there. But guys, have a great rest of the weekend. Have a happy Easter. And as always, come on, you Spurs.